Rockin' Robin from CookingMexicanRecipes.com, and today I'm making 3 milks cake. Now if you've never had 3 milks cake before, let me tell you just a little bit about what we're going to do. It's basically a white cake that is baked in a springform pan like this. If you don't have one, grab yourself one. They're really great. And we're going to cook that in the oven, and when it comes out, we're going to let it cool, and then I'm going to put some holes, a lot of little tiny holes with maybe a fork, all around the top of the cake, and then we're going to add 3 different milks, and we're going to pour it all over the top. And then we're going to finish it off with some nice whipping cream. And if you want to garnish it with a little strawberries or some fruits, that's really nice too. So before we get started with our cake mixture, I want to just go over the ingredients that we're going to need. So first we're going to need 1.5 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, I've got 1/4 cup of water, a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 4 teaspoons of vanilla extract, use the real stuff, and I've got 6 eggs. So the first thing you want to do is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Then you want to spray your pan with some pan spray, just to give it a little coating so it doesn't stick too much. Set that aside. Now we want to sift together in a small bowl the flour. I'm going to pour all this here into my sifter. My baking powder, put that in there, and my salt. Just sift it into your bowl. All right, so now we're going to add our sugar to the mixing bowl. And I'm going to add my eggs. And we've got 6 eggs we want to add here. So now that I have all 6 eggs and the sugar in the bowl, I'm going to start mixing it, and I'm going to mix it for about 5 or 6 minutes, or until the volume doubles. The volume has doubled, and now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of the vanilla and the water. Now we're going to blend on low till it's incorporated. Okay, so now I'm going to add my flour mixture, and I'm going to mix it on very low. You can either do it this way or you can fold it in. Now we're going to pour our batter into our springform pan. So now we're going to stick this in the oven for about 40-45 minutes. So we'll pull out our cake, and you can see as I jiggle it a little bit that the center is firm and it's starting to pull away from the sides. So we're going to set it out to cool. My cake's been cooling now for about 20 minutes, and now it's time to release it onto the plate. So first what we're going to do is we're going to take a knife and we're going to cut around the edge to help release the cake. Now, I'm going to take a plate, something flat that'll fit, cover the whole thing, and I'm going to flip it over. Set it down. And I'm going to release carefully the springform. Okay. Now the cake is probably going to stick to this piece, so I'm going to use a knife. Yeah, it's sticking. So I'm going to use a knife. Move this out of the way. I'm going to cut around the top of it and get it to release, hopefully. Okay, so that released it, hopefully. Almost. Not all the way. Now I want to mention that you need a plate or a serving dish that has a nice big lip. Now this one has a very large lip on it, so that'll work fine. And the reason is when you pour all your 3 milks over the top of the cake, it needs to be high enough, the lip does, so that it will catch all the milk. So at this point I'm going to turn this back over. And I'm going to place my cake right side up, just like that. So now to get the cake ready to receive the 3 milks, we want to pierce some holes into the cake all around it. Now you can use a fork. You can also use a toothpick. I have toothpicks here. We can go around and you want to place holes all around the cake because we're going to be pouring our milk all over the top and we want it to absorb into the cake, and this will help it. So now to make our 3 milk portion of the recipe, I've got a can of evaporated milk, which I'm going to place in my bowl. I've got 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And I've got a can of condensed milk, which is very, very thick. Condensed milk is a combination of 60% whole milk and 40% sugar. And then what they do is they cook it until 60% of the water is evaporated. And then what you have left is this sweet, creamy syrup. And the difference between that and evaporated milk is just that's whole milk, and then they evaporate or remove 60% of the water from it. Now our last ingredient for this is 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So I'm going to add that. And we're going to whisk this for a couple seconds here, get everything blended well. And as you can tell, you can see that the condensed milk is very thick compared to everything else. So I really have to kind of work at mixing this up. And you can feel it. It feels very heavy at the bottom when I'm stirring it. I can feel that it still hasn't been incorporated yet. So now it's starting to mix in pretty good. So now I'm going to drizzle the 3 milks over the top of the cake, and I'm going to do it really slow so that it has time to absorb into the cake. Otherwise it's just going to run off the sides. So I'm just going to scoop it on like that, and you can actually see it start to just absorb right in. So it does take a little bit of time. So you can see it's still absorbing in, and eventually it's going to start oozing out the bottom. I've got all the milk on top of the cake. I'm going to cover it with some saran wrap, and I'm going to refrigerate it until I'm ready to serve it. I'll probably refrigerate it for about an hour, and then I'm going to serve it up. I'm going to whip up some whipping cream, and we'll put that on top, and then we'll serve it. Our cake's been chilling now for about an hour in the refrigerator, and now it's time to whip up the last layer, which is some whipping cream, and then we'll top our cake off. So we're going to start with 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. And I'm going to start to blend this a little bit, and then I'm going to add the sugar a little bit at a time. Now I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm going to mix this, and as I go, I'm going to add a teaspoon at a time of the sugar. Okay, so now I'm ready to just put a nice layer of whipping cream right over the top of our cake. Pile it up nice and high, and we'll just spread it all around. So there you have our 3 milks cake. When you get ready to serve this, go ahead and slice it up and garnish your plate with some strawberries or blueberries or whatever fruit you might have. Thanks for stopping by, and be sure and visit cookingmexicanrecipes.com, and be sure and subscribe to my channel.